G'day guys, welcome to Oak Barrel After Hours. In the earliest ever After Hours we've ever done here at the Oak Barrel Bottle Store.
It's just the hours now.
Just the hours.
Yeah.
My name is Scott Fitzsimon. Sitting to my left is Joe Perry, about 1.5 meters away, although he is tending to creep in a little bit. She just likes me a fair bit. Tuning in for episode 23 of After Hours here at the Oak Barrel Bottle Store. To quickly recap, what Oak Barrel After Hours is Oak Barrel's bottle store in the heart of Sydney's CBD, smack bang here on Elizabeth Street, in between Museum and Central Stations. And once a week on a Monday night, when we close the store, Joe and I sit around and have a couple of drinks, talk about what we've tried this week, what's happened, what we're liking, what we're looking at for the week coming up. And the last 23 times we've let you guys come and join us via a webcam. So quick g'day to everyone, and thank you for joining us. Now, obviously, we're in a little bit of a different time and era as with everything that's going on at the moment. So we are a little bit earlier because we've actually amended our operating hours this week for the foreseeable future, closing at 7 p.m. From Monday through Saturday, just because there is no foot traffic left in the city, as there should not be in these times of great pandemics. So a big thank you for everyone who's bought online and that sort of thing. But yeah, from 7:30 each Monday night for the foreseeable future, whether we're here or at home, Joe and I will be up to talk rubbish and talk shit through that period.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm getting pretty good at that now.
yeah. How's your week been?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's obviously different, but still very much in the same vein as last week, as we sort of keep up to date and learn more and more about sort of, I guess, what's going on in various industries and across Australia and the world. But yeah, thankfully we're here and we've got some wine and we've got some other booze, and hopefully you do as well at home, in appropriate amounts. Yeah. Come along and join us.
It's been a funny study with everyone being at home. There's certain people that are going, I'm drinking way more than I normally would at home. And because I've got absolutely nothing to do apart from sit in front of Netflix. And even if you are working from home, there's only so much you can do via email and that sort of thing. But personally, I'm finding that I'm drinking far less at home than I would out on the town.
Yeah.
I don't particularly drink much at home anyway, when your job is to drink, essentially.
Yeah.
And you spend your time at night drinking as well. I don't drink a huge amount at home, and so I found myself, not drinking anywhere near as much the last couple of weeks with extended home periods. Yeah,
and also I guess we're never shy about the bars that we venture to, and obviously there is a certain, I guess, culture built around visiting bars, chatting to people, seeing people and that sort of thing, and often booze is side by side with that, and that kind of disappeared overnight. So I think it was a bit of a shock to the old, what do I do then, kind of thing. I go home and I'll just have a water, I'll have a tea, and I'll go to sleep. And there was a lot of that for me this past week, actually.
Yeah. It has been good as well. I mean, obviously there's certain government stimulus packages that hopefully will help and go to the right places, particularly for the hospitality industry. But it's been great to see. I think last Monday we were talking about people were coming up with ideas about how can we keep trading, take home cocktails, all that sort of thing. 7 days is a long time in periods of global pandemics, and so we've moved on quite a bit. So there's now some bars in Sydney where we are, but also around the country that are now doing bottled cocktails. I know 92 in Glebe, PS40,
the Roosevelt.
Yeah. And there's a lot I've been speaking to as well that have like restaurants attached that have been doing some, just takeaway, not sit down, which is really cool.
So the thing is also, I guess, a tribute to the Australian or Sydney, Australia-wide hospitality industry that we know and love, of basically getting, the rug taken out from underneath them, and having that never say die attitude, whether it's still bringing the chefs in or the staff in to do takeaways, or adapting to the regulations that were put in place. And, obviously it's a huge hit to the bank account when that income sort of stops, as it would on a nightly basis. But hopefully there's enough there to sort of keep things going.
Yeah, and it's certainly definitely it's needed as well. You know, we probably, yourself and I, drink at bars almost nightly, which is obviously a lot more than your average Joe Blow, but you know, it's the game we're in. We're in the proximity. That's the proximity we're in. But as well as like the socialising aspect, and you know, I was before on the old video call with a very good friend of mine who turned 25 today, Yvette Myhill from down in Murrabit in country Victoria, my old business partner, who a lot of people involved in the whiskey and craft beer industry will know very, very well. Ran Sydney Craft Beer Week for a number of years as their general manager. So I'm still getting the social aspect of it. The bit that I'm struggling with quite a lot is sucking at making drinks.
Yeah.
Like, as the guy that can stuff up a gin and tonic and a Negroni, I miss bartenders.
Yeah.
Like, if I wasn't already, you know, they weren't already the most thankful thing in the world I, you know, was thankful for, they are now. So that's the missing key for me at the moment, is to get to about 7 or 8 o'clock at night and be like, man, I could smash a martini, you know, but made with good products. And
Scott's got the blender out in the background trying to figure out what's going on.
It's like, which colour vermouth goes in again? But, you know, I am on the wait list for the next run of PS40 cocktails.
As am I.
So
very excited.
that's going to be good. Which was excellent to see that the team down there got a little bit pumped on Friday when they announced it. And by Saturday they were taking pre-orders for Tuesday and Wednesday this week.
Awesome.
So hopefully we can keep getting the word out, not just with them, but everyone who's coming up with this sort of stuff. That'd be really cool, and then the people who are very good at making cocktails can stand in front of a bar and make the cocktails, and other people can get on their bikes and deliver them around Sydney and the country as well for people. Whiskey and Almond, of a bar down in Melbourne, very close to our hearts, that we've done a lot of work with, that we've seen at the Whiskey Fair in the last couple of years. The little juice packs, decanting whiskey into them, which is really, really cool. But yeah, it's what's the old saying that disruption is the greatest time for innovation.
Yeah.
And I actually I saw a meme this afternoon from one of my friends who works quite high up in the marketing in one of the drinks multinationals, and it was a question that who led your company through digital transformation? CEO, CIO, COVID-19, and that was ticked at the bottom. And so if there's any silver lining, hopefully there's good things coming to this. A few people coming in. G'day Crafty Field.
G'day Crafty.
From Craftworks Distillery Company, now closed for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can see you back operating. Maro from Tobacco, I've got to call you, mate. We played a bit of phone tag today, but I need some vermouth off you. Brian from Blackgate, good to see you. Dylan says, slightly off topic, but will any chance you'll be stocking the new one in the core Ardbeg range, Wee Beastie? Probably not, Dylan. We're not really working with that company right now here at the Oak Barrel, but that's another question for another day. But
just on, not on that, but on...
let's not talk about that. I need a few more drinks.
Seeing Maro pop up there, always a friendly face. But the one thing that I think I've been asked for 10 times more than I would get asked for any other time in my experience here at the shop is red vermouth.
Red vermouth.
We've probably had that question, I reckon, close to 20, 25 times in the past 7 days. And all I can put it down to is homemade Negronis.
Negronis, yeah.
And like you said, it's cocktails can be quite complex, and having worked in that world, and it's always fun to make them look a lot harder than they actually are.
Yeah.
But a homemade Negroni has got to be a staple.
Yeah.
Now I think
and I'm sure you all know it. Watching this stream, what is in a Negroni. But what are the 3 key ingredients?
Aperol. No,
Prosecco and
Campari, sweet vermouth, and gin.
In pretty much equal measures.
Yeah. So I think that you're at home. So there's not really an RSA based around how much you can put on your Negroni.
More gin.
But equal parts Campari, red vermouth, and your favourite gin, and get as creative with it as you want. But I never really, I guess I didn't quite comprehend how many people make Negronis at home, or how many people want to make Negronis at home. Which was quite interesting for me. I mean, I guess a martini is maybe a little bit more intimidating to go home and try and make a martini. Gin and tonic is maybe a little bit too, every day. That Negroni, I think, just hits the sweet spot of just something to sip on. Yeah,
and it's something that it's a little bit premium as well. It looks kind of cool. You can have a bit of fun with it. I mean, I did, as I said, when I say these cocktails I find difficult, it's not because they are difficult, it's because I am just useless at making cocktails. But I did make a couple of Scott Martinis last night for myself.
Is that just straight
gin? Yeah, that's just straight gin.
Yeah.
I may have said the word vermouth at the glass very quickly as we passed by. So,
was it Churchill liked them like that? Was it Churchill?
Yeah,
Churchill, I think.
Yeah, Churchill. I think that's he's got it's like a dash of vermouth.
He stares at it from across the room. Yeah.
Somewhere in the bar next door. A quick g'day to Dave and/or Caroline Taylor as well from Tassie. And if anyone wants to make Negronis and bring them into us, we're happy with that as well. Just leave them at the door, then you can go home and we'll just open the door and take them with you.
Yeah, probably make a better Negroni than we can.
Yeah. So the theme of tonight, we're not going to get too crazy, too technical with things because I don't think that's really the time for it, or now's not the time for it. And there's not too many new things coming into the store this week, to be quite honest, because we're a little bit being very cautious about what's going to happen and, don't want to lay up big swathes of money when we don't know what the future holds. We're very confident, and stimulus packages and things will help that. But I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. From my side of things, I have 2 samples of 2 undisclosed whiskies. I don't know what they are. I've got a couple of descriptions here in terms of ABV. That's about it.
We actually don't know what these are.
No idea.
We have no idea.
They're samples from a good friend of mine who I think the plan is to bring them into the country, or he's already bought the casks or something. So I've been a bit busy, but now that I have literally nothing to do past 7 o'clock every night, I thought this was a better chance, good a chance as any, to try them. And then we might crap into some miniature Lefroigs at the end of tonight, because that's what we're going to do with our virtual tastings, to give you guys a bit of an insight. Joey's got a bit of a red wine that will crack as well. But to start off with, I'm actually drinking something that's come out of our survival packs. I mentioned I was just on a phone call with a few of my good mates celebrating a birthday. We all had the survival pack, so we've been cracking wines one by one together. And this is just where did I put it? How would you pronounce this, Joey?
So from a producer called Domaine Le Negli, and this is their, I guess, sort of entry-level little fun summer Provençal style Le Terrasse Stella Negli, which is just a really clean little Merlot Syrah and Grenache blend, but just really lightly handled. I think it's like $15 or something like that.
Yep.
But we have enjoyed many a bottle of that over the warm months. And
that's sort of my entry drink to tonight. Yeah. And you've opted for something undistilled whiskey.
Yeah, I don't really know much about craft beer, but this is called Wonder Juice with 2 O's. I didn't know Juice had any O's.
It is the end of the world.
Hazy IPA from Epic, which is a Kiwi brewery based in Auckland.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, I do like, craft beer is great and the end of the world is all great, but there's one thing we can't lose sight of is spelling. Can we please keep spelling intact during these great times? Otherwise, I will start getting quite anxious.
It's easier to pronounce than most of the Scottish distilleries, though.
Yeah, but that's because that's pronounced correctly and spelled correctly for Gaelic. So,
but a nice hazy IPA. I'm not a hazy IPA expert, but it tastes nice.
Yeah, is it hazy?
I don't know. I'm sure I'm probably supposed to have it in a glass or something.
Yeah. Crafty Field says, "Where did you get that cool T-shirt, Scotty?" I only wear cool T-shirts, but I bought this off a stand at the Sydney Good Food and Wine Show last year, I believe, if memory serves me.
I was there, and I don't think any money changed hands. But
no, did it? Yeah, I remember because it's and
it did.
Crafty, you might actually be able to help me out on this one. I do forget, but this is from the Curry Distillery, a distillery I'm very fond of. But the T-shirts have been made by a local T-shirt printer that does everything sustainably and that sort of thing. I don't know the exact makeup, to be quite honest with you, about how it all works. But I know, Crafty, you might be a little bit better on that than I am. So if you've got any insight, please give us a yell. But should we get into some booze and start talking about it?
Yeah, for sure. Tear away. I think, maybe whiskey first?
Do some whiskey first? We can do whiskey first. All right, so let me just set this up because I think we are just a little bit slow. Yep, here we go. So, 2 whiskies. One is a single malt at 48%. One is a rye at 45%. That's all I know. Yeah. So should we start with a single malt?
I guess that's the best way to go.
So
No country of origin, no nothing.
no country. I have some guesses before even looking at this whiskey, but we'll give it a go. That's what we reckon. So, Nathan, I do apologise this has taken so long, but if you are watching, you're probably not, but if you are, I'll shoot you the video anyway, so you get our true thoughts rather than what I'll put nicely in an email to you. So, we've spoken a lot about blind tasting things, and I think what you were saying the other week about, the art of blind tasting of wine is very much relevant to whiskey as well, in the sense that you have a whiskey in front of you now, and chances are I've never tried this before. So if I try it, I'm not going to be able to pick it up. But what I can do is rely upon my experience of trying other things in the past and whittle things down and try and, exclude things. So the first things, you look at the colour. Colour can be deceiving. So it's not black like Coke. So say it probably hasn't spent too long in a very active cask. Or if it is older, it's probably been in a cask that is not particularly active, but like really basic things first off. Is it an assault of smoke? Is it an assault of sweetness? Is it spicy? Because from there you can then sort of cull things down a little bit. But I think, to be honest, this is not a guessing game. This was just to see whether we like it or not, whether it would be something that we would consider stocking here at the Oak Barrel. So first off the note, there's a real, not cereally, but almost like a popcorn or bubblegummy sort of note.
I'm always getting like a sweet smoke.
Yeah, and I was just about to say like roasty, like a mezcal almost. Like
it does have that,
like
that kind
smoked
of
mezcal sort of thing.
Not quite charcuterie, but almost like in that sort of vein.
Yeah. So I did mention there was one other thing that I might pull off straight out of the bat about what these whiskies might be, because as well, you won't be able to read them from here, but on both these bottles, the first one says rye 45% and single malt 48%. They also both say 750 mils.
Yeah, right.
So that would be, that's the size the bottles are going to come in. What is the one country in the world that goes into 750 mils almost all the time is America.
States.
So American rye, most certainly. Single malt 750 mils. We'd almost be playing with an American single malt as well. So that's just before I even tried anything. Tasting it, I've gone, okay, yeah, maybe that works as well. So I reckon this is an American single malt from somewhere.
Is it? I mean, we certainly don't see too many American single malts come through the shop. That's something slightly unusual.
It is, and you get, Westwood and Westland. I wish they'd come up with different names to be the two most prominent American single malts. But there's Colkegan, Kings County have done a few. I mean, there's heaps of them over in the States, but it's on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And I find with a lot of single malts, American single malts as well, they play to an American market, or the American palate rather. So bourbon and rye go into first fill bourbon casks, so first fill virgin oak casks. So a lot of American single malt goes into virgin oak as well, because that's a constant. So it's not a huge jump for the American whiskey drinker to jump from bourbon into that as well. So Corsair, as Crafty points out, who do one of the most polarising oat whiskies of all time.
Yeah, right.
And g'day to Mike Thomas as well, tuning in there. I quite like this. This is aromatic. There's definitely some sort of like roasty smoke there.
Yeah, it's like that. It's almost got like that sweet and sour thing kind of happening.
And it's not like sometimes
little umami, little bacon fat.
Yeah,
like.
But it's not like smoked bacon.
No,
it's like meaty, but not like smoked meat. If that makes sense. But yeah, I'm going to take a sip now.
There's like this like cinnamon white peppery thing happening. It's really cool.
Definitely spice, and big spice on the palate. I'd say the mid palate is all spice.
It's like there's that cinnamon kind of making its way in there as well.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because I find American single malts to be very different to anything we know with in terms of like Australian or international single malts. And we drink. Americans make single malt, and we call them single malts because Scotch whiskey is the dominant whiskey right now. Probably should have been Irish, then it probably should have been American, but through various socioeconomic factors in the past 150 years, it's Scottish whiskey. Scottish single malt is the premium, so it's almost a pseudo sign of quality to make a whiskey to that sort of style with malted barley, to put the word single malt on it. It's why Australians have chased it, it's why the Japanese have chased it, it's why all these countries have chased it. So, but I think you can get Aussie whiskies that are quite relative to Scotch whiskies. Japanese whiskies quite relative. American whiskies still taste more like American whiskey than they do Scottish single malt. So I think you sort of really have to take your the word single malt out of your head when you talk about American single malt. But there's a lot going on here. Like
I'm getting way more of that cinnamon as well.
Yeah,
just like get like that palate coated.
It's almost like in like a very very savoury sort of way, but that's sort of like baked spice, top of a pie type thing, but without the sugar.
What do you think of the finish?
It's a little bit shortish. It's a little bit short.
It's like this explosion on the mid palate, and then it's just, I don't know.
It's certainly very moreish, but I think I would say it's
I don't find that lingering essence.
Yeah, I'd say it's on the younger side of things. But you see it in Colkegan, which is a sort of oak scrub, and then it's oak chip smoked whiskey from Texas, and the Balcones, Brimstone, which is the Texas scrub smoked.
Yeah.
Very front forward whiskies. You see the same with Australian whiskies that mature very quickly in small barrels, very front forward, very showy. Sometimes that's at the expense of finish, which comes with age, and it comes with time, and it comes with patience. So I'd say this. I mean, it's not sharp at all, so I think there is a bit of age on this. But I think in the American climate, you're probably looking at somewhere between 4 and 6 years old, which is old.
Yeah,
it's old, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Shall we move on to a rye?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have floating floorboards here, so if we had carpet, it would make the carpet smell better every time we did that. But
now
it
just kind of stains them.
Yeah, you fall over. All right, so same thing. No idea. Rye 45%, so we're dropping down 3% alcohol here. Again, 750 mils. My gut, and I have absolutely nothing to back this up apart from pure speculation, is that they're coming from the same distillery. Because they've come from the same potential supplier who's given to me on potential, hey, and I actually don't know whether this is a distillery or an import company or a distributor he's looking to work with.
Right.
Barrels he's bought himself. Whiskey he's made himself 5 years ago. I have no idea. But yeah, so this is just another different take. And sweet off the nose straight away. Quite a sweet rye, I think. And it's again, there's a toastiness to it, but it's not that roastiness of the single malt. It's almost like a oak char thing.
Yeah, it's almost got like this baked bread, kind of like brioche-y sort of thing happening.
Yeah, like definitely. And it's
a little soapiness.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and something that the Americans and the American whiskey industry is talking about a lot more than we are. Sorry, we're closed. Is that when you talk about barrels, you talk about virgin oak, and you talk about levels of char. But we're starting to talk, particularly with some of the more independent, coopers and cooperages. There's differences between char and toast. So the char is very it's going to take out. So that's your basically your alligator skin on the inside of the barrels. That's going to cleanse your spirit and take negatives out of your spirit. But the toast, which is the fine graining and how far you go into the barrel, is actually going to add to your spirit.
Right.
So
okay.
Balancing those two things out. So for me, this, and again, I'm an amateur at this, talking a lot about probably a heavy char, but not a hugely heavy toast.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely that sweetness. A lot of oak on this, like more oak on this than I got off the single malt.
Way more. Yeah, it's just that depth on the nose as well.
Yeah, I'd almost say that this is a little bit younger. A little bit younger. I'm not getting the soapiness, but I am getting like an overt sweetness, like
I know,
like
I'm just
fairy
getting,
floss.
Yeah, I'm just getting like some sort of like almost like very aromatic, like that's quite nice.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think my gut says the single malt as my potential pick.
Yeah, I might disagree with you on this actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find this far more interesting.
Okay.
I think I've like every time I've sort of gone back to it, it's changed a little bit. Like,
couple of questions there on the stream. Why is Scotty blurred yet Joey's sharp? Yes, Phil Brooks. Joey is just naturally sharper and more on the ball than me. We are using a couple of other softwares and experimenting with a few things ahead of our virtual tastings coming up. So the Monday night stream is very much the guinea pig, the training ground.
As if you've tuned into any of them before, you know.
23, we're going to get one right soon. But yeah,
This is cool. Like, I just think there's a lot of like lanolin, a lot of lavender, this kind of grassy thing in there. But then you've got that intense sort of sweetness that I don't really know if it's in front or if it's coming from the back. Like, it's puzzling.
Yeah, I know, and like I find rye for me to be quite divisive. Like when I got into ryes through Irish pot stills, I want to taste the grain. I want that big leathery dryness. You know, your Sazeracs and even like your Mictas, which is quite creamy, still has that big driving spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the single malt for me is my pick on that. Just something a little bit different, but you know, maybe I just drink more single malts in general. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah,
more access to it.
I think like that single malt I really enjoyed like the nose of and the palate as well, and I think it was because I enjoyed it more and I sort of settled on my opinion of it a little bit earlier. But this is just kind of like kept the brain ticking for a little bit longer.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I'm really liking it. It's the way I'd kind of find myself going in wines.
Yeah, okay.
Just try and go like interest.
Yeah, cool.
Fun.
Yeah, interesting. So that's a couple of whiskies that we tried blind. I am none the wiser on what they were or where they came from, but we are going to get something American. Could be completely wrong. It could be Australian. It could be Scottish.
Yeah.
We have absolutely no idea, but that's the uninformed guess from here. So Nathan, I'll send you an email tomorrow with my picks. But yeah, we're split down the middle here.
Yeah.
Which is often the way that these things go.
Being the more experienced out of the two, I think that my opinion is far more valid.
You are older as well.
Yeah, so. That's true.
Josh points out that Scotty is consistently blurry, and yes, that's very true as well. And that's still waiting for a review of Resh's. Well, see, the thing is, Josh, that we don't need to review perfection. How do you review perfection? I mean, you sit there and go, yep, tick the box.
Yeah.
Nose, palate, finish, tick, tick, tick. So there's not really much use to review Resh's.
We could do.
Brian asks, can we find out what they are? Yes, we absolutely can. I will endeavour to do that because these are, I assume, these are things that potentially might sit on the shelf. So as soon as I know, I can let you guys know, but I have no idea right now. But I know someone who can find out. But also, I think this was also maybe a bit of a scouting mission.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? And these could have been these could be two whiskies that are not even considered to come into Australia or be released, but just, am I on the right track? Should I find more like this or more like that? So, yeah, honestly, I don't know, but yeah, we'll try and find out what they have.
Really fun though.
Yeah.
I think they're just not your everyday run of the mill.
And I do love doing it that way.
Yeah.
Doing it blind and having a bit of fun. So Shall we go into some wine? Maybe come back to a whiskey at the end?
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll quickly finish my Rosé.
Yeah, so we're going to get stuck into, I think as Scotty might have mentioned a bit earlier, we launched the Survival Pack sort of series, or it started with one, actually, which is 6 wines that, myself and the staff have kind of picked and chosen and thrown together. They're all $110, $99 for members, and they will get straight to your door with the delivery included in that price. So we launched them Monday or something like that, I think.
About a week. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Monday or Tuesday. I think we did the first ones just as a kind of a tester, and they sold out in a matter of hours. So then we sort of had to get to getting some more online. So then we put 3 up, a white, a red, and a mixed, and they sold out in a number of hours. So we've just been playing sort of catch up, trying to keep these fun, interesting packs, and like they're wines that we really, really like. And have done for a while. A few oak barrel staples, and then a few curveballs as well in there. I think
there's just something about survival and wine that just seems to resonate with people.
It really does. So we're seeing guys buy one of each. We're seeing people buy.
I have some feedback for you.
Yeah.
The town of Murrabit. I wouldn't say necessarily a conservative or liberal town, but just a very small country town on Murray River. Been going bonkers over the Whitish by Aries.
Right.
It's been the pick out of the bunch so far.
Well, that was interesting, like that alone, because that was part of one of the first packs we did, which was originally the Swinging Bridge 003, which was a selection of 6 wines, which was, I think there's Italian Soave in there, a little easygoing Côte de Rhône blend, a nice McLaren Vale Shiraz, all these like amazing, sort of tick the box kind of wines that we really like, and then Whitish from Ari's Natural Wine out of the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, which is Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc blend on skins, pours like a hazy whitey amber colour, and doesn't have any chemical additives, working with only organically and biochemically farmed grapes. That was kind of the curveball in that pack.
That's all the tick boxes for the oak barrel.
Pretty much, yeah. That's good to hear. It's always interesting to kind of throw a wine like that into a pack and then get it out there. But they've been going pretty bonkers this week, I think. So we just got 3 more up online today. And then tonight I thought we would kind of just go through the process of a wine I've been sort of considering putting in the next one, and a wine that I know I really, really like, but gotta sort of test it on everybody. And
it is something as well that in times like these, when there is a lot of uncertainty, when there's a lot of layoffs, jobs are quite scarce, you don't necessarily go to a bottle store that specialises in premium and weird and wacky, which is a lot of the stuff that we do on this live stream as well. So actually getting back to your, cost-effective wines, but still have great stories and are really interesting. I think that's been the key. And it's been, to be honest, it's been what I've been drinking at home.
Yeah.
I haven't cracked any Port Ellens recently. I've been drinking a lot of Twofold.
And I guess there was, without really thinking about how we were doing it, there was an element of sort of bringing that oak barrel experience into the box.
Yeah.
Of going like, this is safe and we love it and it's great. Yeah. This is weird and wacky and we love it and it's great. And that's kind of a lot of what you'll get when you come in here and ask us for a recommendation.
Yeah.
It can go the whole spectrum.
And if you're like living off McCain's $5 frozen pieces, this can do the job.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that. But picked one tonight that I'm sort of considering, almost sealed the deal on putting into one of the future packs, but I just thought we'd have a look at it.
Beauty.
So from 2 young winemakers based out of the Yarra Valley, little town called Gruyere.
Gruyere?
Do you know Gruyere?
I don't. Where's that?
Well, no, I know it's a cheese. I don't think I've ever been to Gruyere. But sort of west-northwest.
Does anyone know where Gruyere is? It's a bit in the Yarra.
Yeah, so they're like just south of Yering Station.
Okay,
yeah.
I know roughly where it is.
Yeah.
Can't say
2 young guys, which was Ben Payton and Troy Jones, effectively making up Payton and Jones. And just sort of getting into it, young, energetic, wanting to sort of have a crack and sourcing some exceptional fruit, some organically managed fruit from across the Yarra Valley. They do Pinot, Syrah, Chardonnay. This one is actually a Sangiovese.
Okay.
Yeah, from a little vineyard out there. And I guess that's kind of where it's the most exciting, because we talk all the time on the show about how much we adore sort of Italian varietals and then making a comeback. And while it kind of seems all so new in the last 5-10 years, but you know, we've done the Vermentino from Chalmers. They're based out in Heathcote, and their vines were imported in 99 or 2000. I think they brought in the Vermentino cuttings. But there's been Sangiovese planted in Australia since the 1970s. And obviously a lot of Italian winemaking families coming over here from those days as well. And it alone, it's by quite a long way the largest planted varietal in all of Italy. Larger than Pinot Grigio, much larger than Nebbiolo. And it just never really sort of found its feet in the sort of 70s, 80s period in Australian winemaking. I think the first ones were planted in Penfolds on the Kalimna block down there.
Yep, okay.
And yeah, it wasn't sort of until the mid-80s where Mark Lloyd from Coriol in the McLaren Vale sort of took it and ran with it a little bit, but it still is, I don't think it's really ever adapted to or being what it could possibly be so great here in Australia. And from sort of what doing a little bit of reading and that sort of thing, because I think that in that era, in that time, people were really always trying to make it like the Italians did.
Yeah.
Which has never been a bad thing. But, you know, we talk about how Mediterranean climates are often reflected very well here in Australia for growing these certain varieties. But I don't think that necessarily means that we need to go out and make it the exact same that they do.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of questions about this, because this is something that, you know, 6-7 years ago when I was getting into wine, you know, sort of way and trying to find my way through it, Sangiovese was one of those grapes that threw me quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Burgundy and you know Australian Pinot Noir, and you know that they come from the same grape, but they're completely different wines. Now, so like Sangiovese, it's like I think maybe just in my head initially I thought Italian red, it's going to be big, it's going to be heavy, it's going to be whatever, and then I tried a few local ones. It was like, this is Gamay, essentially. So, like, I mean, if I'm drinking Sangiovese in Italy, and obviously there's a lot of it around, so it probably goes in a bit of table wine, is there like a region that specialises in high-end?
Yeah, there is, but it is everywhere.
Okay.
So your top ones are obviously Brunello di Montalcino, and then Rosso di Montalcino underneath that, Chianti and Chianti Classico, Chianti Reserva. They're sort of big ones.
And are they heavy big wines, or are they softer lighter wines?
So Brunello, you tend to see a lot of new oak in.
Yep.
So you get a bit of a richer, broader sort of wine. Chianti, especially Chianti Classico, is always quite dry, and they have a natural sort of tannin aspect towards it, especially in the older vines. They're really rustic, really dry styles of wine, obviously differing a lot. You have Vino Noble di Montepulciano, which actually doesn't come from Montepulciano. It comes from
Say that 10 times quickly.
Yeah.
No, do. Say it 10 times quickly.
Vino Noble di Montepulciano. And then that 10 more times. But which in fact doesn't come from Montepulciano, it comes from Sangiovese.
Okay.
So the language barrier, I think, alone sort of throws a lot of people.
So there's it's a wide spectrum of what it means to Italians and what it can be in terms of your glass.
It is, and what I stumbled across a little bit earlier that I actually thought that's quite important, is that Sangiovese, when describing it, you'd often describe it like Pinot Noir, not because of the flavour, but because of how it adapts to its terroir.
Okay.
So it's one of those varieties that it reflects where it's grown more than anything else. You can't really manipulate it in the way you can do with maybe a Shiraz or Cabernet or Chardonnay or something like that.
And I'm gonna take that concept and turn it into a segue, because in Australia, an Australian-grown Sangiovese, I've now think of Sangiovese as being light-bodied and elegant and soft, like a Pinot, like a Gamay, like those sorts of things. So, is that what the majority of? Is that our climate and our soil that's giving it those lighter soils in Australia?
Well, it depends on where you are in Australia. certainly like McLaren Vale, Sangiovese, and also sort of Sangiovese in places like Margaret River, which are a little bit bigger, a little bit richer, are going to they're going to sort of call for a bigger, sort of dustier wine. But certainly, you don't see too many Australian expressions that represent Brunello or Chianti as such, and having that dryness. Like the wine we're drinking right now is
not dry.
very fresh.
Yeah, it's not dry.
Really fresh, really fruit forward. Maybe a little like a young Chianti or sort of just declassified sort of Tuscan Sangiovese. Like lovely natural acidity. And it just doesn't have those chalky tannins that you'll find in those sorts of areas.
So if I'm looking at a bottle of wine from Australia that has the word Sangiovese on it, in that case I look at the region, and that's really important. Is that what you're saying? Because it adapts so much to where it's from.
I think so. Yeah, in a broader way. I think that just like Pinot Noir, like if you're sort of maybe a little bit more into your Pinot Noirs and you like Italian Sangiovese. But you like, that's probably the wrong way to say it. If you like Pinot from the Yarra, you might like Sangiovese from the Yarra.
Okay.
If you like the way that region reflects its grapes very well, but you might like Shiraz from the Yarra. It might necessarily mean you like Shiraz from another part of the world that replicates that.
So Orange, go out and plant lots of Sangiovese,
Mudgee.
please.
Some very good Sangiovese out of Mudgee.
That's true.
Yeah. First Ridge.
That's what I was
First
thinking
Ridge
of,
have done some great stuff, and there's another one that's lost me now.
But that's another part of the world, that Orange, Mudgee, place we talk about a lot because I love it so much, that greater and central west part of New South Wales. So many tame varietals in the past 5 years. It had been planted before that, coming into bottle, and people looking towards tame varietals. Just seems to sing. Just seems to absolutely hit the nail on the head for what that climate and what that soil does, which is quite exciting.
It is good, and I think the part of why I think Sangiovese has only sort of recently kind of jumped into the Australian wine scene in the last 10 sort of years or so is I think a lot of people were trying to make it to an Italian inspired way.
Yep.
And B, we also were getting a lot of inferior clones shipped over there, so it's only been quite recent, well not quite recently, it's only been recently these clones have been hitting their age. This is off a 17-year-old vineyard, but with good high quality Chianti and Brunello and vineyard clones, which is again very important.
JC Pennypacker comments that it's the higher ABV, and I don't know exactly
in
what
Italian
that might have, what that was in reference to, but I always agree with higher ABV. JC, I'm a big fan of higher ABV.
Well, you'll see we're at 13.5,
so a little bit lower.
Yeah, you'll see Brunellos and stuff get up around the 14.5.
Okay.
But it is Sangiovese is also quite a late ripening grape.
I agree, JC. If you want high ABV, stick to whiskey.
Yeah. But no, this is fun. Like we've had in the store. I mean, I've bought a couple of cases of this over the last couple of years, but it's always really sat with me. I love that kind of mid palate savouriness. It's got that tomato leaf, that eucalypt, lovely dark berries, stewed fruit.
I made the
spice
comment very early on trying this wine that it wasn't dry, and I might just row back on that a little bit because the back palate is quite dry. Like the nose, and it's, as you said, fruit forward, it's plush, it's soft, it's all those things that I look for in a wine. It definitely has that dryness, which at a very, very base level you associate with Italian wines. Yeah,
and like some like incredible Chianti. It's a food style wine. It often leaves your palate really like that chalkiness in the back of the throat. Like even some of the best. This doesn't do that for me. It's still got a lot of that plush primary fruit. So I think it's gonna be cool. But why I sort of wanted to showcase this a lot, and why I sort of am almost definitely going to be putting in one of the packs in the coming week or so, like $22 for members or something like that. And like and even like with the way these guys do it, even some of their Pinot and some of their Shiraz coming out of the Yarra as well is right in that vein as well. But I just think there's so many gems like these to be found seeking out not your run of the mill varietals.
Yeah.
That you know the regions for. Look at Sanjo, look at Montepulciano, look at Nebbiolo.
And I think, and you've mentioned it before, like the biggest part of your job here is, yes, there's that side of the warehouse or the showroom floor that is weird and wacky and 40, 50 up to $2,000 in terms of price. But this side, finding the small batch, the family owned, the young winemakers who can still get a bottle of wine under $30 on very small production elements, and just like create something interesting that's worth talking about, that's worth bringing to a dinner party on Zoom or Gather or House Party, whatever your famous favorite virtual app is at the moment. But I think that's really cool, and this ticking a few of those boxes.
Yeah, it's just
this is
just
when
really
you
fun.
Order a pizza off maybe Frank this week and go and pick it up. This is the sort of wine you want next to it. So I mean, we've spoken a lot about Sangiovese. Can we roll back and talk about the winemakers a little bit?
Yeah, so two young guys, Ben and Troy, sort of Yarra Valley natives, I guess, both sort of
Yarraites? Is there a word for that?
Yarraites. But yeah, sort of
Yarraites?
I think
Yarradites?
there's really not too much to sort of go and Google them about. But kind of, I guess their soul sort of represented in the wine, where it's, you'll go on their website, you'll find words like smashable and enjoy it. And I think I just think that it's always nice to see people that love making this style of wine. There's always like that element in Australian winemaking and winemakers that, it's better. Let's get the best blocks, the best this, the best that, the best oak, the best wood, the best everything. But
which is incredibly admirable.
People aren't drinking those wines every day.
No, and particularly not this week.
No, that's
unless
for
you
sure.
got a stockpile of them, and then you're drinking them all.
I
in
did
one blowout party.
have a little bit of fun trivia tonight, though.
You're going to ask a question, are you?
I am.
Oh, God.
So it involves Latin.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So Sangiovese is actually derived from a Latin phrase called Sanguis Jovis, and it means something.
Sanguis Jovis.
Yeah.
So is Jovis with a J or a G?
With a J.
J-E-R-V-I-S?
Jovis.
So you've said it wrong. So you've said it Jovis, because the Latin don't pronounce their V's. They pronounce their V's as W's, because it was the Greeks that introduced V's and the V into Latin.
Just answer the question.
Jovis. So what was the first word?
Sangui.
Sanguis. So S-A-N-G-O-I-S?
U-I-S.
U-I-S. Sanguis?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea, to be completely honest
It
with you.
means blood of Jupiter.
Blood of Jupiter.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's
that
where
makes
the Italians derived the term Sangiovese.
Yeah,
from blood
that's
of
really
Jupiter.
cool.
Yeah.
So, because Sangiovese, I did know because I've read that word before.
Sangde is always blood of.
Yeah. And but Jupiter, I have no idea what that was going to be. There you go. I failed the Latin course. I was never going to sit. But that's one of those things that, like, in isolation,
Just learn Latin.
you pick up. But like, I can say, "Did you come from the city today?" Which obviously is going to be really important in Latin. Like,
Well, you're not going to be asking people for the blood of Jupiter anytime soon. So.
that's right. Yeah. If you come in asking for a Sangiovese, and you happen to get me in like the next couple of years, I apologise in
strange
advance
looks.
because you're going to hear about the blood of Jupiter. That's not mine. That's now Joey's fault. Yes, I do agree, Ali. The blood of Jupiter sounds amazing.
It's not bad. I'm always just super impressed with everything these guys do. But yeah, I just think it's just wine to be enjoyed.
Yeah, and actually, the blood of Jupiter is actually the name of my first solo record that I'm going to release.
Yeah, right.
It's called Blood of Jupiter.
You skipped a few planets there.
Yeah, well, but Scot is a Latin word. It meant back in the day was Latin for a Gallic-speaking person from that part of the world.
Yeah, right.
Was a Scot. So that's where that comes from.
There you go.
So Scott Fitzsimon's Blood of Jupiter, spoken screamo album. Just me yelling at people for an hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
Could be good.
Can't wait for that one.
Might not work, but could be good. I've been looking at the time and it was like, it's only 8:26. Shoot, we're only going for 26 minutes. But then I realised we've changed it around. We've been
56
going,
minutes.
56 minutes. So shall we crack on? Should we crack another whiskey?
Yeah,
while we're here?
why not?
So, in these Ali reckons she was about to steal my idea. Ali, I've already registered it. It's my solo album name. You can't have it. So, in these times of no more than 2 people at one time, we are obviously not doing very many tastings at the moment. So what we're doing is a lot of virtual tastings. We've got them on the website. A lot of them or a couple of them are sold out, so we're announcing more as we go. The way they work, we send you out small bottles of whiskey, then we organise a time, everyone gets online, we open them, share it, talk about them together. Like this, except you got the same thing that we're drinking at the moment. We've done a couple of dry runs, and again, this is another experiment on software and things to make it work quite well, so we've pretty much got it nailed. But coming up soon, one of the tastings we're doing is an introduction to peated whiskey. So whiskies from three Scottish whiskies and 1 Irish whiskey that are peated, and Lefroy is going to be one of those whiskies that we try. So we thought we might crack a Lefroy tonight in small format, just to sort of give you guys a bit of a look at what it's going to be like, as if you needed a description of what Scotty and Joey drinking whiskey while you drink whiskey at home is going to look like. So this is the Lefroy 10. We're not doing the Lefroy 10, we're doing Lefroy Select in the pack that's coming up. That should arrive in store about Wednesday or Thursday when I get my act together, and then we'll start shipping them out next week. But this is just a bit of fun. It's a whiskey that I think we have a real opportunity to do some education about, because we sometimes get caught up in the high end and the exclusive, and booking our tasting room full of bizarre wines and bizarre whiskies and that sort of thing, and not always getting back to basics and going, why does it taste like it, why it does, where does it come from. And so what I've got tonight is, as I said, a 10-year-old whiskey from Lefroy. It's an iconic whiskey from the small island of Islay, heavily peated. Probably the best marketing campaign I've ever seen from a booze company. It was called Opinions Welcome, and it said Lefroy is distinct. When you open a bottle of Lefroy, everyone in the room knows that someone's opened a bottle of Lefroy. It's this potent TCP, iodine, seaweed, smoky, band-aidy sort of smell that's going on. And the campaign was about, some people are going to love it, and some people are going to love it not so much. And we would embrace all of that, because we know we are very, very unique. So I think one of the big things about smoky whiskies is you try one and you either like it or you don't, and if you don't, you go, no, smoky whiskies aren't for me. But there's a lot of variations on smoking whiskey, and there's a lot of different ways that can play out. So doing them side by side and doing 4 whiskies as we're going to do, side by side with all different flavour profiles, and will hopefully give a bit of a impression and understanding of how smoke and peat can be managed into a whiskey. And we're going to have Cam Perrier, I hope, from the Exchange, which is the sort of education arm of Beam Suntory, who owns Lefroy, and a few other brands we're going to talk about. Have him on from his bedroom. And he's great. I've seen a few of he's been doing a few tastings for bartenders recently, like doing nightly ones, and his business up top, and wears no pants. So I'm going to have to find out a way to get him to ask for something on the back shelf behind him, just so he can see his jocks a little bit, which could be a little bit of fun. So I'm not going to talk too much about this tonight, because it is coming up, but I found one of these little 50 mils of sitting around. I thought this could be a little bit of fun to have a bit of a taste of, and give you guys an idea of how it's going to work. Now, these are 50 mils as well, so we've poured ourselves about 15 mils each, which means essentially just under half of the bottle is left here, and so for $50 you're going to have another dram of everything pretty much lined up for you to taste afterwards. So it's pretty good value, and big thanks to the team at Beam Suntory for helping us get the price down so much on these ones. Because we are doing some premium tastings as well with boutique and some rum things, but this is going to be really, really cool. And I've noticed there's a few people from outside of Sydney. I know we're sending some kits to places like Orange and to Young, people who don't necessarily get whiskey tastings happening in their towns all the time. So that's going to be really cool. to have a bit of fun. And I mean, I'm sure you've had this whiskey before.
I've got quite a good story about Lafroig 10, actually.
Let's hear it.
Maybe I've told. I don't think I've told it before.
I don't care.
No.
Tell it again. I can't remember if you have.
No, I think I've. But I was in the south of England at the very early, I think it was 18 or 19.
And before you even get started, the south of England is somewhere you definitely need smoky whiskies.
Yeah.
Cold.
So we're in. Well, it was like just south of London, basically. Sorry, not that far south, but
Not Portsmouth.
No. But we're in your very sort of. I can't even remember the name of the town, but it was way out. There was one pub, one sort of country pub there. You've got your very, your standard back bar of whiskies and that kind of thing. And I was there with a few friends. We're sort of drinking away, and obviously I'm young into my bartending career, and as you do, you want to, kind of show off and be a bit of a wanker. We all go through it.
I haven't grown out of it.
Yeah. And it was old school English country pub, and I noticed the bottle of Lafroig 10 on the back bar, and I remember working with Lafroig 10 in bars that I'd worked in previously, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, I might get one of those. It's going to take me about half an hour to get through it, but I'll look pretty tough in front of everybody else. And there's this young bartender, younger than me at the time, one of the sons or something like that. 15, 16, whatever they are.
Yeah. We did name the town, it's okay.
Yeah. And so in the UK, you need to measure your wine pours.
Yep.
So you have like a 125 or 150 or 175. 175 and 250 are kind of the most common milliliter wise for small and large wine glass pours. So we get to the bar. I get to the bar and I sort of like, oh, hey, can I get one of the Lafroigs there? And he sort of looked at me a little bit. So, I was like, oh, it's that green bottle up there with the white labels. Oh yeah, okay. So he grabs it off the back bar, sort of looks down, picks up a wine glass, picks up the wine glass measure, which is about 175 mils, and pours it into the wine glass. It was like £8.
Yeah.
I don't remember much else about that night.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that
was like one of my first experiences with Lafroig 10. It was great.
That's living the dream.
It's just a wine glass full of Lafroig.
And that Port Ellen up the back there,
yeah,
and that Brora. Yeah. Oh dear, way too much fun. We have sort of gone over the hour a little bit. Thank you guys for joining us from self-isolation, I hope. No one knows how this is going to go, so I hope everyone is just, being as responsible as we can all be. Hand sanitizer, wash your hands, stay at home if you don't need to be. It's great to see the city quite desolate. I mean, it's not great, but it was good to see that people are taking it to heart.
Hopefully we'll get through this sooner rather than later.
It's really important. Because the sooner we can knock this invisible enemy out of the park, the sooner we can get back to normal, and the sooner that you don't listen to me talking about excellent drinks, you can actually go to bars and drink those excellent drinks. But we've got lots of virtual tastings coming on. We will be here next week, whether we are sitting next to each other 1.5 meters apart or from our lounge rooms without wearing any pants.
Yeah.
Not too sure, but we will be here to talk some rubbish. So thank you very much, everyone and anyone that's here. Do you have anything else to add?
Just be safe.
Be safe.
Yeah. Let us know for any future suggestions. I know I've sort of got a little, very light blueprint of a virtual wine tasting concept moving forward, but obviously getting wine into 50ml bottles is a little bit trickier. Yeah. But we have got some ideas.
Yeah.
So whatever you guys would like to see in terms of virtual tastings, or just on here on the show, or whatever it is.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Got heaps of time now. So.
Yeah, lots of time.
Yeah, lots of time.
He wants to hang out after 7 p.m. virtually.
Yeah.
I got a phone, give me a call.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to do. Thank you very much. The only thing I will say is that hopefully with this bit of government help, hopefully it comes through and does what it's meant to do and keeps a lot of our great bartenders and people in jobs and keeps a lot of things alive. But if they aren't already, I know a lot of great restaurants and bars are looking to do takeaway food and that sort of thing. So if you find yourself flicking through a food delivery service app, maybe just close that for a second, go to Hospo Threads. I think it's hospothreads.com.au or hospothreads.com.
Yeah.
And there's a few lists coming up, bouncing around about, places that are, offering either takeaway or delivery services. Go and see if you can find somewhere local that could really use the money and could use the money without a multinational company taking 30% of a clip and then charging you money as well. Because it's going to work out about the same price, but the money's staying with a local business that could really bloody use it. So there's Hospo Threads. I think there's a few other websites out there, but I think there's going to be
heaps of resources to get information on.
And if you don't know, shoot us a message and we can point you in the right direction of where those places might be, because we want them to survive, because we want to go back when this is all done with. But thank you very much.
If they last a week, we might do the PS40 cocktails next week.
Yeah, well, no,
I don't think they'll last.
I'm going to drink all of mine. What we might do is we might order some more.
We'll get some more.
See if we can get So hopefully they can catch up, or maybe when because I think either tomorrow or Wednesday our drop is coming, so they will last about until tomorrow or Wednesday. But maybe when delivery drivers here, we can pre-order some and just pay for them up front and get it happening, because that'd be awesome. Be really
I think it'd be so good.
Yeah,
it's like a breakfast Negroni and something else I got.
Yeah. I went the limey one.
The pandan leaf thing?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, no. A lot of fun. Anyway, thank you guys. We will see you soon. Be safe.
See you next week.
Have fun. Don't do anything we wouldn't do in times of great need.